Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parvajacharya Astutar Satyashimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parvajacharya Astutar Satyashimad, Shringa Guru Shili Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, New Dwarka Dham Ki Jai, Gangamaya Jumunamaya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Gaura Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to all the seven devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to all the seven devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to all the seven devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, Gaur Sri Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jai. So we see Lord Chaitanya ecstatically dancing in front of the carts. So this is where is this? This is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila. I'm going to be reading chapter 13 from text 142 to 167, and I'll explain why. And so this is the ecstatic dancing of the Lord at Rath Yatra. So this is really something special, something very vibrant, I guess you could say. And it's an incredible procession. It's just, you could just see look at the pure spiritual energy. And right in the center there's this divine devotion. It explodes into this scene, as we heard, a festival of emotion. So this is all nice. So let's, what I'm going to do is just give you a little brief to kind of give you an idea where we are. So this is this chapter, and we're actually, this section that we're reading is 120 to 167. This is where Lord Chaitanya recites the verses in the mood of Radharani. And you can see there's 4 sections here. So we're 120 to 131. Lord Chaitanya, his ardent appeal in the mood of Srimati Radharani to Lord Jagannath. He wants Krishna to come back to Vrindavan. So we had read that already. And then now we're going to go into the 132 to 147, the inner mood of Srimati Radharani and the gopis as they speak to Krishna. And then as we go on through the rest of the chapter of this particular section here, Lord Krishna's reply to Srimati Radharani, and then Swarup Damodar Goswami's service to Lord Chaitanya. And then it's nice, the chapter ends with these other remarkable features of the Rath Yatra. So that just gives you an idea here, what they do there. So, anyway, I'll start reading. Excuse me. So this is text 142, and I'm going to chant this particular sloka only, because just to save time. And okay, so Deha Smriti Nahayara Samsara Kupa Kahantara Tahaite Na Chahe Udara Vihara Samudra Jale Kama Tamingila Gile Gopigana Nehetara Para. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, the gopis have fallen into the great ocean of separation and are being devoured by the Timangila fish of their ambition to serve you. Everybody knows what a Timangila fish is? They're huge fish that can even swallow a whale in one gulp. So this is what they're being devoured by, the Timangila fish of their ambition to serve you. The gopis are to be delivered from the mouths of these Timangila fish, for they are pure devotees, since they have no material conception of life. Why should they aspire for liberation? The gopis do not want that liberation desired by yogis and jnanis, for they are already liberated from the ocean of material existence. So there's a beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. The bodily conception is created by the desire for material enjoyment. This is called vipada smriti, which is the opposite of real life. The living entity is eternally the servant of Krishna. But when he desires to enjoy the material world, he cannot progress in spiritual life. One can never be happy by advancing materially. This is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.530. Adanta gopir vishantam tamar vishram puna punas charvita charvananam. Through the uncontrolled senses, one may advance one's hellish condition. He may continue to chew the chewed, that is, repeatedly accept birth and death. The conditioned souls use the duration of life between birth and death only to engage in the same hackneyed activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Purport continues. In the lower animal species, we find the same activities. Since these activities are repeated, engaging in them is like chewing that which has already been chewed. If one can give up his ambition to engage in hackneyed material life and take to Krishna consciousness instead, he will be liberated from the stringent laws of material nature. One does not need to make a separate attempt to become liberated. If one simply engages in the service of the Lord, he will be liberated automatically. As Srila Bilvamangala Thakur therefore says, Mukti Swayam Mukhi Litanjali Sevate Sman. Liberation stands before me with folded hands, begging to serve me. Okay, text 143. It is amazing that you have forgotten the land of Vrindavan. And how is it that you have forgotten your father, mother, and friends? How have you forgotten Govardhan Hill, the bank of the Jamuna, and the forest where you enjoyed the Rasa Leela dance? Krishna, You are certainly a refined gentleman with all good qualities. You are well-behaved, soft-hearted, and merciful. I know that there is not even a tinge of fault to be found in you. Yet your mind does not even remember the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This is only my misfortune and nothing else. I do not care for my personal unhappiness, but when I see the morose face of Mother Yasoda and the hearts of all the inhabitants of Vrindavan breaking because of you, I wonder whether you want to kill them all, or do you want to enliven them by coming there? Why are you simply keeping them alive in a state of suffering? 146 to 147. The inhabitants of Vrindavan do not want you dressed like a prince, nor do they want you to associate with great warriors in a different country. They cannot leave the land of Vrindavan, and without your presence, they are all dying. What is their condition to be? My dear Krishna, you are the life and soul of Vrindavan Dham. You are especially the life of Nanda Maharaj. You are the only opulence in the land of Vrindavan, and you are very merciful. Please come and let all the residents of Vrindavan live. Kindly keep your lotus feet again in Vrindavan. Purport. Srimati Radharani did not express her personal unhappiness at being separated from Krishna. She wanted to evoke Krishna's feelings for the condition of all the others in Vrindavan Dham. Mother Yasoda, Maharaj Nanda, the cowherd boys, the gopis, the birds and bees on the banks of the Jamuna, the water of the Jamuna, the trees, the forests, and all other paraphernalia associated with Krishna before he left Vrindavan for Mathura. These feelings of Srimati Radharani were manifested by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore he invited Lord Jagannath Krishna to return to Vrindavan. That is the purport of the Rath Yatra cars going from Jagannath Puri to the Gundicha temple. So it's like Jagannath Puri is like where Krishna lives, in his abode, and then the Gundicha temple is Vrindavan. After hearing Srimati Radharani's statements, Lord Krishna's love for the inhabitants of Vrindavan was evoked, and his body and mind became very much perturbed. After hearing of their love for him, he immediately thought himself to be always indebted to the residents of Vrindavan. Then Krishna began to pacify Srimati Radharani as follows. My dearest Srimati Radharani, please hear me. I am speaking the truth. I cried day and night simply upon remembering all of you inhabitants of Vrindavan. No one knows how unhappy this makes me. Purport. It is said, Vrindavanam parityaya padam ekam nagacchati. In one sense, Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, does not even take one step away from Vrindavan. However, in order to take care of the various duties, Krishna had to leave Vrindavan. He had to go to Mathura to kill Kamsa. And then he was taken by his father to Dwarka, where he was busy with state affairs and disturbances created by demons. Krishna was away from Vrindavan, and he was not at all happy, as he plainly disclosed to Srimati Radharani. She is the dearmost life and soul of Sri Krishna, and he expressed his mind to her as follows. Sri Krishna continued, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan Dham, my mother, father, cowherd boyfriends, and everything else, are my life and soul. And among all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis are my very life and soul. And among the gopis, you, Srimati Radharani, are the chief. Therefore you are the very life of my life. Purport. Srimati Radharani is the center of all Vrindavan's activities. In Vrindavan, Krishna is the instrument of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan still chant, Jai Radhe. From Krishna's own statement given herein, it appears that Radharani is the queen of Vrindavan, and that Krishna is simply her decoration. Krishna is known as Madana Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid, but Srimati Radharani is the enchanter of Krishna. Consequently, Srimati Radharani is called Madana Mohana Mohini, the enchanter of Cupid. My dear Srimati Radharani, I am always subservient to the loving affairs of all of you. I am under your control only. My separation from you and residence in distant places have occurred due to my strong misfortune. When a woman is separated from the man she loves, or a man is separated from his beloved woman, neither of them can live. It is a fact that they live only for each other. For if one dies and the other hears of it, he or she will die also. Such a loving, chaste wife and loving husband desire all welfare for each other in separation and do not care for personal happiness. Desiring only each other's well-being, such a pair certainly meet again without delay. You are my most dear, and I know that in my absence you cannot live for a moment. Just to keep you living, I worship Lord Narayan. By his merciful potency, I come to Vrindavan every day to enjoy pastimes with you. I then return to Gaudacandra. Thus you can always feel my presence there in Vrindavan. Our loving affairs are more powerful because of my good fortune in receiving Narayan's grace. This allows me to come there unseen by others. I hope that very soon I will be visible to everyone. Purport. Krishna has two kinds of presence, prakata and apakata, manifest and unmanifest. These are identical for the sincere devotee. Even if Krishna is not physically present, the devotee's constant absorption in the affairs of Krishna makes him always present. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hrideshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achinta guna swarupam govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. Purport continues. Due to his intense love, the pure devotee always sees Lord Krishna present within his heart. All glories to Govinda, the primeval personality of Godhead. When Krishna is not manifest before the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they are always absorbed in thoughts of him. Therefore, even though at that time Krishna was living in Dwarka, he was simultaneously present before all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This was his apakata presence. Devotees who are always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna will soon see Krishna face to face, without a doubt. In other words, devotees who are always engaged in Krishna consciousness are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, certainly return home, back to Godhead. Then they see Krishna directly, face to face, talk with him, and enjoy his company. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Taktadeham punarjanmi naiti mameti sorjuna. Because during his life, a pure devotee is always speaking of Krishna and engaging in his service. As soon as he gives up his body, he immediately returns to Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is personally present. He then meets Krishna directly. This is successful human life. This is the meaning of prakateha anibe satvara. The pure devotee will soon see the personal manifestation of Lord Krishna. So this is really nice, the success of human life. You know, in the Mahabharata, when Yudhishthira was asked by Dharmaraj. He asked him so many different questions. He's like, what is the, he says, the perfection, or is it the best result, the highest thing of someone who cultivates, someone who sows, someone who wants prosperity, or someone who gives forth. So it gives all the different answers like that. And you remember what some of them are? So the one who cultivates is rain. That's the most important thing. Or the one who sows is the seed, and the one who wants wealth, prosperity, is the cow. But who is the one? What is the perfection of one who brings forth? And that's a son. So I was just thinking, it was amazing, during the wedding ceremony, how with some of the people, I was looking in the crowd, and they're all like in tears. And Jai Chaitanya Prabhu was telling me afterwards that he was very emotional because he was seeing how all this happened from just one book. Like he gave a book at USC to Brissa, and she eventually became a devotee. And so we see, what is the perfection of ISKCON? Is that it produces Krishna conscious men and women that come together to bear fruits to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. Like Savas was saying, he could see the future of our movement happening and the beauty, the fruits of this Krishna consciousness movement when people come together and they engage in Krishna consciousness. So it's very beautiful. And how it's the production of all of us. ISKCON, we're producing these things. So this is a real success of human life. And eventually, as Prabhupada says here, we'll go back home, back to Godhead and see Krishna personally. So here we're all practicing to serve Krishna like that. So 156, I have already killed all the mischievous demons who are the enemies of the Yadu dynasty. And I have also killed Kamsa and his allies. But there are 2 or 4 demons still living. I want to kill them, and after doing so, I shall very soon return to Vrindavan. Please know this for certain. Purport. Just as Krishna does not take a step away from Vrindavan, Krishna's devotee also does not like to leave Vrindavan. However, when he has to tend to Krishna's business, he leaves Vrindavan. After finishing his mission, a pure devotee returns home, back to Vrindavan, back to Godhead. Krishna assured Radharani that after killing the demons outside Vrindavan, he would return. I am coming back very soon, he promised, and as soon as I have killed the few remaining demons. I wish to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the attacks of my enemies. That is why I remain in my kingdom. Otherwise, I am indifferent to my royal position. Whatever wives, sons, and wealth I maintain in the kingdom are only for the satisfaction of the Yadus. Your loving qualities always attract me to Vrindavan. Indeed, they will bring me back within 10 or 20 days. And when I return, I shall enjoy both day and night with you and all the damsels of Vrajabhumi. While speaking to Srimati Radharani, Krishna became very anxious to return to Vrindavan. He made her listen to a verse which banished all her difficulties and which assured her that she would again attain Krishna. Lord Krishna said, devotional service unto me is the only way to attain me, my dear gopis. Whatever love and affection you have attained for me by good fortune is the only reason for my returning to you. It's a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1082-44. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sit in his room with Swarup Damodar and taste the topics of these verses, day and night. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced completely absorbed in ecstatic emotion while looking at the face of Lord Jagannath. He danced and recited these verses. No one can describe the good fortune of Swarup Damodar Goswami, for he is always absorbed in the service of the Lord with his body, mind, and words. The senses of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are identical with the senses of Swarup. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to become fully absorbed in tasting the singing of Swarup Damodar. It's like the line between the divine and ourselves is like blurred a little bit. It's how we engage in this loving devotion. In emotional ecstasy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes sit on the ground, and looking down, he would write on the ground with his finger. Fearing that the Lord would injure his finger by writing in this way, Swarup Damodar checked him with his own hand. Swarup Damodar used to sing exactly according to the ecstatic emotion of the Lord. Whenever a particular mallow was being tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar would personify it by singing. Just how much in tune they were. And, just same mood, same, like I said, almost the same senses. So this is the Srila Prabhupada. He introduced in all the cities in the West, all over the world, this Rath Yatra festival, which was observed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is Srila Prabhupada, the founder, Acharya of ISKCON. So Prabhupada mentioned, this is the Rath Yatra in San Francisco. And this is something Srila Prabhupada said. I'd like to just read. This was from July 5th, 1970 in San Francisco, Rath Yatra. And this is what Srila Prabhupada said. So this Rath Yatra festival is a mass movement for enlightening people to this Krishna consciousness movement. We have got many other festivities in Krishna consciousness movement. We have got Janmashtami, Shri Ram Navami, Doli Yatra, Juli Yatra. So there are 12 months, but we have got 24 festivals, as big as this Rath Yatra festival. So if you kindly take to them, then as advised by Lord Chaitanya, Kirtaniya Sadahari, you will always be in Krishna consciousness, and there will be no scope of your frustration and confusion. For this purpose especially, I come in this meeting that you kindly accept this humble instruction, that wherever you may be, in whatever position, in whatever condition, you kindly chant these 16 names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And it tells them to chant again and again. Thank you very much. And then there's a lecture in London, Srila Prabhupada said in 1973. We held the festival Rath Yatra, chant and take prasadam, that's all. Organize this all over the world. They will be saved. They will understand Krishna. Actually, after we finish reading this chapter, the blessing is that you will develop this loving mood for Krishna when you finish, just by hearing. So what to speak of engaging in the Rath Yatra festival and seeing Lord Jagannath like that. So this is the festival, Rath Yatra. This was LA Rath Yatra in 2016. And here's their lordships. There's a nice verse from the CC Madhya 15. My dear Lord, let me suffer perpetually in a hellish condition, accepting all the sinful reactions of all living entities. Please finish their diseased material life. This is the mood of a devotee. This was the mood of Prabhupada. He wanted this to go everywhere so that everyone can become freed. Vasudev Datta, Prabhupada describes in that purport that he was more merciful than even Jesus Christ, and how liberal a Vaishnava is. So he's a very unique example, Vasudev Datta. So this is the mood of Lord Chaitanya. It says, one who executes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission must be considered eternally liberated. He is a transcendental person and does not belong to this material world. Such a devotee engaging in the deliverance of the total population is as magnanimous as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is that amazing? This is the mood. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Padayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya. Namne Gaura Tase Nama. Such a person factually represents Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because his heart is always filled with compassion for all the conditioned souls. So this is Lord Chaitanya. So this chapter, it culminates reference into prayer by Rupa Goswami, and it describes Chaitanya, his dancing, and how it benefits everyone who hears it, as I mentioned. And Yeah, you can just feel the effect even just by hearing part of it. So this is not just an old story or a history. It's actually a live demonstration, a deep spiritual truth. This Rath Yatra becomes this incredible stage. It's for showing the most intimate kinds of divine love. And it shows that this devotion isn't just a feeling, but it's a force, that can literally move the immovable. It's said that when Lord Chaitanya was dancing, right, what was the power, what was the energy, that it felt like all the oceans and mountains was tilting. It was like amazing. So, and then he moved this immovable, huge chariot with his head, right? He just pushed it with his head. So this is the kind of power that was happening. So we see from the king showing his humility by sweeping the street, the earth-shaking ecstasy of the dancers, and the unbelievable mystic power of Lord Chaitanya, who he actually appeared at once in all the, 7 kirtan parties at one time. And those who were fortunate were able to see that. And then we saw that dialogue between Krishna wanting Vrindavan and Radharani is demanding his return, right? And that's just a love that's beyond our ordinary understanding. But I think the core message here is, if you boil it down, it's that of our pure devotion, that focused love regardless of who we are. It could describe about what do they call those people that take care of the kids? The daityas? The daityas, they were like sabras. It's sabras, you're right. The sabras, they are pig owners and whatever, take care of pigs. But yet they had devotion, just like the king and just like the pure devotee. So it's regardless of who we are externally, king, servant, whatever, what really attracts the divine is that devotion. And the idea is that if we can make our own mind to become like Vrindavan, so wherever you are, you can create that sacred space within you. That's the transformative power of reading and reciting these pastimes. So we have that spark within us. It's a kind of intensity, focus, and dedication that we have to, really try to bring out every day in our lives. So, we should see whether we can make our mind Vrindavan and just keep diving deep into these transcendental nectarian pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, I kind of summarized this chapter, this section that I pointed out in the beginning of, let's see if we could turn this up into a little song. Would you like to hear? Okay, so let's see if it'll play. Let me turn this up.
Sweet
Wow, exactly 8:30. Any comments or questions? Realizations? Yes, Prabhu. Okay, so Sachitano is asking, where is the place we do not celebrate Rath Yatra and why? There's a lot of places, I'm sure. And why is because we haven't had the most intense desire to do it, I guess. Our mission is unfinished. We still have a lot of work to do. But the main thing is, like as I mentioned, we should try to bring that in our own hearts and minds. If we make that Vrindavan, then we'll spread it naturally everywhere. So maybe we're not there yet. Yes? Okay. In Vrindavan, they don't celebrate Rath Yatra because they're already there. That's where they're going, yeah. That's true. That was a nice question. Yeah, help you think. Jai. Anyone else? Oh, thank you very much for your kind attention. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Glories to Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada.